So speaking of challenging this sort of hijacking of perception, and you having been at it, you having woken a lot of people up, myself included, throughout the years, and in meeting people. I mean, now you're going on. You just got off a tour. You're going on another tour. You've been doing this for decades now. As you look at people waking up, and as you have this experience of helping them to wake up, and of walking with them on that journey as well, do you think it's would you say that it's harder now, or is it getting easier, or is it getting more difficult? In other words, what I'm asking is the programming stronger now, or is our ability to wake people up matching that? Is it stronger now, or was it stronger back then? What do you think?
Well, full enough, I think it's a bit of both. I've got someone coming to interview me later in this week about sport. I used to be a goalkeeper, and when I played in goal, we used to wear gloves when it was wet to try to get a grip on the ball, and they were absolutely useless. Today they have gloves with latex that are like fly paper. You couldn't drop it. So you'd say that, well, goalkeeping's got easier. But actually the ball now moves around a lot more than it did, so goalkeeping in that sense has got harder. So it's a bit of both, just like that. In the years when I started, for instance, there was virtually no one talking about this. And you were the strange one. I mean, I remember coming and speaking at some of these whole life expos in America when I first started talking about it. And I was the strange conspiracy guy from England who was put on at 10 o'clock at night when everyone had gone home. So in that sense, it was more difficult because fewer people wanted to know. And there were fewer people that you could actually talk to and have a conversation with. Today, that's changing. More and more people are questioning. It's massively been my experience in the last 18 months. And therefore, it's easier because there's more people to talk to. But again, goalkeeping gloves, moving ball about, it's harder in the sense that the programming is more intense than ever because it is, more and more done technologically, and people's attention is being hijacked technologically, but also, and this is a crucial point, is that the colleges and universities have been hijacked, that word again, perceptually hijacked, to the point where this so-called political correctness, which is nothing more than manipulating the target population to silence the target population, is making it more and more challenging for people just to speak their opinion. I mean, when I started out talking about this stuff decades and decades ago, you would get ridiculed and people would dismiss you. But now it can get more serious than that. You can lose your job. You can get vilified because you say something that is so-called politically incorrect when you're just speaking the truth. Because the way it's gone, we live in a post-fact society. Facts don't matter anymore. Right. What matters is people's personal view, which is not actually, when you break it down, their personal view. It's the view that they've taken off the shelf from the system and just believe it's their personal view. And we've got this incredible inversion now in which the so-called progressives, the so-called liberals that aren't, have become the tyranny. They talk about anti-fascism, stop the fascists, and then they do what the fascists did in Germany, which was burn the books, shut down the meetings of people that were saying something that challenged the Nazis or something different to what they were saying. Because every tyranny, I mean, as we talk, of course, the dots connect all the time, and we come back to what we were talking about earlier. every tyranny wants to hijack information. Everyone, whether it's communist, whether it's fascist, they're just expressions of the same mindset anyway. They want to control information because then they control perception. And what has happened now is that through the hijacking of the colleges and universities, which are producing the decision makers of tomorrow, we have people so bewildered, so lost, that they perceive themselves to be liberals standing for freedom and diversity when they are destroying both by destroying the ability to have a different opinion to theirs. And so, again, there are some things like that that make it harder today, but some things that make it easier in the sense that there are more people who are willing to listen.
So we have a pretty young audience. Besides, so we're talking about the youth here, definitely, when we're talking about what's going on in. We've got some crazy honking going on outside. Okay. When we're talking about what's going on in academia, and certainly in the universities, which I agree absolutely wholeheartedly. Besides going out and getting the new book, Everything You Need to Know But Have Never Been Told, for that young person who may be finding it a bit difficult and who's saying, David, I agree with you, but concretely, what's some place for me to start on this journey besides going and getting the book? What would you say to them is the most important thing for a young person confronting the world as it is now to try to break out of that postage stamp, to try to come free?
Okay, well, a few things. I mean, I could talk all night on these things, really, because it's so important. First of all, reassess your self-identity, because you're not your name, you're not your background, you're not your life story, you're not your race, you're not your religion, you're not your income bracket. They're experiences. You are a state of awareness, an infinite state of awareness, which will leave this body and continue in its awareness after what we call death. And you are having a series of experiences. Your point of attention within this infinite awareness is just as important and has the right to express its opinion as much as every other one. So never let anyone tell you what to think, tell you what to believe, or tell you what you can and cannot say. Because once you go down that road, yes, I know it's challenging, then it's over. Because if we allow this ludicrous state of being offended to trump freedom of speech, then it's over. Because if someone being offended means you cannot have an opinion that they say they find offensive, then you'll never find anyone saying anything that someone somewhere won't be offended by. Mm-hmm. And so we're having this situation now where being offended, and it's all manipulated. I mean, these people are babes in arms. That being offended trumps everything, not least freedom of speech. We, as young people and older people like me, old, young, we're just all the same consciousness. We cannot go down this road any longer of allowing our fear of consequences, our fear of what people will say about us, the biggest prison that people live in, to stop us expressing the true magnitude of who we are, which is consciousness having an experience with the right to its unique point of attention, point of perspective, point of perception. And anyone that seeks to impose their perceptions on others is a psychological fascist, and do not please tell me you're anti-fascist, because you're not. And I would say to the progressives who are not progressive in the terms of being liberal, look at yourselves. Don't just listen to your rhetoric and your parroting of someone else's phrases. Look at the consequences of what you are doing. You are destroying freedom of speech. You are destroying freedom of opinion. And the scale of arrogance it takes to say my opinion is the only one that is valid takes my breath away. And what happens when you stop people having the free expression of their opinion is that you create a tyranny where one group or one power center is dictating what people can think and what people can say. And once that point is reached, then don't tell me you live in a free society, because it's over. The very basis, the very foundation of every single freedom anyone can name is the freedom of expression, the freedom of opinion, and the freedom of thought. And instead of trying to silence people who say something different to you, which is what the vacuous do, who have no argument, therefore silence them, because if I have a debate with them, I'll lose. Have the confidence, if you're so confident you are all knowing, have the confidence to allow free debate. And if you're right, as you believe you are, then the debate will show you to be so. Those that say, I'm not debating with you, I'm going to silence you, they are people that A, obviously have no confidence in their own arguments, and B, I find invariably have an enormous amount to hide.
Powerful stuff, David Icke. As always, wow, what a pleasure to have you on. I have to say, it's really, really cool to be sitting on this side of the conversation. Thank you so much for coming on, everybody.
It's been a pleasure.
Please,
thank you.
Yes, please go out and get the new book, Everything You Need to Know But Have Never Been Told, and of course, go and visit David at davidicke.com. David Icke, gotta say, it's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope we can have you on again.
Thank you, and I'm coming to America later in the year.
Oh, well, we will have to go and see you. We'll definitely be keeping abreast of your tour dates here. That'll be great.
Okay, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, David.
Bye.
Have a good day.